the product that I've got sort of popular for Bonvita, they sell in only two countries largely, India and
Hmm.
Nigeria. Same classic salted chips. You'll
Sure.
see that in the US and you see that in India. In India, they use palm oil. In US, they use a different oil. I feel FSSAI can do a better job with having front of package labeling. But for the last 8 to 9 months since I've been food farmer full-fledged, I have not made a single rupee.
My name is Abhinav Trivedi. I'm joined by Revant Himmat Singha, also known as Food Pharmer, who came into limelight when a legal notice was issued from Mondelez, the maker of Bonvita. Revant, you made a video on how Bonvita is not a health drink for children because of its high sugar content last year. And you had to take down the video, but the video found its way on WhatsApp forwards and other channels. Tell us more about the entire episode. What transpired? What happened?
I always say this, I don't have as much of a problem with junk food. I have a problem with junk food marketing itself as healthy. And Bonvita specifically has a lot of sugar, so I made a video against it. The video was very catchy and sort of funny as well, so it got a lot of shares. It got 12 million views on Instagram alone. A lot of celebrities shared it, and then I got a legal notice. I had to take down my video. Then public got even more angry that that earlier it was already viral. It got even more viral. That how can a big MNC bully this individual who's speaking facts? Then the
Correct.
Bonvita said that my video is not scientific. They made
Hmm.
a public statement saying my video is not scientific. And then one of India's leading scientific bodies, Nutrition Advocacy for Public Interest, a team of 8 doctors and nutritionists signed a document saying that my video is entirely scientific. So this
Hmm.
was a huge moment. And then the government's child rights body sent a legal notice to the company to take down their misleading ads. And
Okay.
this entire thing happened in a span of 3 weeks. Just after 8 months in December, they finally changed their package. They finally changed the sugar content as well, and they reduced the sugar content by 15%.
I mean, has any other brand also served you a legal notice in the kind of content you do?
Yeah, so there have been many of them. I got about five of them totally. One of them even escalated a bit more from there. So there were about five legal notices, but in the last 4 to 5 to 6 months, I haven't got any new ones.
India is a huge market, and a majority of the population is young. We see health biscuits, we see cola juices and sugar content in cocktails served in bars. India is a high target for junk food brands because largely, masses are unaware about the contents of food and our love for sugar, fat, and salt. Do you think it's more of a cultural problem than a corporate problem?
It's a bit of both. I don't think it's right to blame it on the culture necessarily. It's a bit of both because a lot of people are having things without knowing it is bad for them. They want to have the right thing. They just
Hmm.
don't know it is bad for them. For example, atta noodles is one product. I speak at many schools from a varying background. So there was one lesser privileged school I spoke at, and they said every day for dinner they have atta noodles, and because in the package they say one atta noodles is equivalent to two or three rotis. So
Hmm.
they think instead of roti, you can just have that atta noodles. So my point is, they have the right intention when they are consuming food. Sometimes it's just the marketing which gets to them, and the celebrities with 6 packs and 8 packs are selling them things which they themselves don't consume, like the celebrities themselves don't consume. So there is a
Hmm.
little bit of corporate issues as well, and there's a marketing which goes on showing how food products like refined oil companies are marketing themselves as heart healthy.
Yes.
Biscuits, literally chocolates, are calling themselves as digestive and like a lot of other terms they're using. So there is a marketing issue as well.
When you're researching for your content, in general, do you get an idea that India is a third world market for a lot of packaged food companies? They provide these misleading ads, but they cannot do the same in developed economies like maybe Europe or Central US. I mean, we all know about a country called Nauru with the largest number of obese people. Do you think that food is a very important component of our daily lives? Do you think that India is largely a third world market where this misleading advertisements can be served and we can get away with it?
To a large extent, yes. I would say that the product that I've got sort of popular for Bonvita, they sell in only two countries largely, India and
Hmm.
Nigeria.
Hmm.
They came
Hmm.
from UK, but they do no longer selling in the UK. Now they're selling only in India and Nigeria. Again, you look at the same, I won't name too many companies, but the same classic salted chips. You'll
Sure.
see that in the US and you see that in India. In India, they use palm oil. In US, they use a different oil.
Hmm.
There are many brands like that, like many other chips brands, like a cylindrical shaped brand. I'm not going to name it again. In India, they use palm oil. The same exact product in the US, they don't use palm oil. So there are some
Hmm.
companies which use certain marketing gimmicks out here, which are slightly more blatant, which in the other countries they don't. They use even cheaper ingredients, but it is not always their fault in relation to the ingredients, because India, the price point is lower. And like, while I do blame these brands, I also understand the business side of things, which is, if your price point is 10 rupees, your cost has to be like 1 or 2 rupees, the manufacturing cost of that item. So it's very difficult for them to put high quality ingredients when the price is so low. So that is the other challenge.
When it comes to regulating such false marketing, do you think India's food regulator, FSSAI, where do you see its role? Do you think they have enough powers? I mean, is the food regulator of India doing enough?
Yeah, so it's a very challenging situation. I don't want to go and just say, oh, FSI is not doing the job and these kind of things. I've never said anything like that in the past as well. The challenge is that India is very, very complex. There are thousands and thousands of food items there. So to
Hmm.
have the exact right um, formula which everyone can follow is very difficult, because people always find loopholes in the things. It's not that the regulations are not there, they're just that brands are able to find loopholes. And yeah, I do agree that they're not executed as much. There are regulations in place, it's just not executed as much as it should be. I feel FSCI can do a better job with having front of package labeling. For example, some country, I went to Singapore recently, they have ABCD for their
Correct.
packaged foods. So can India not adopt, like, ABCD rating? Another
Hmm.
another suggestion which is made is, like, can they have warning labels? That, okay, this is a warning, this is very high
Like they
in
have
sugar.
on cigarette packets.
Exactly, like a cigarette panic warning, like on a biscuit packet. Imagine, like, warning, this is high in sugar, may lead to
Hmm.
XYZ health issues. So
Hmm.
those
Hmm.
sort of things could also be adopted by FSCI. But again, it's not an easy problem. Like, it's not a quick fix.
Sure. Now, let me talk about something which a lot of health practitioners in India have been urging for the longest of the time. It's called sugar and salt tax. Do you think that is the right mechanism to at least, make the masses aware on what they are consuming is unhealthy in the long run?
No, I feel it's a pretty interesting mechanism. One
Hmm.
is, you are not only de-incentivizing junk food, you can alternatively even subsidize healthier food. So there are both sides of the coin, and eventually it's a demand and supply issue, right? So if you make the price very high, you will make it more difficult for people to buy junk food. But simultaneously, the healthier food should become slightly cheaper as a point. Like, if you just make food expensive in general, that's going to not solve the purpose.
High lifestyle diseases, Revant, is also a big market for pharmaceutical and medical brands. Like, on one side, you manufacture patients, and the other side, you earn money from them by pharmaceutical and medical brands. And that too in a market like India with a population of 1.4 billion.
Yeah, I mean, in some extent, I'm not saying that everyone is going hand in hand, but they always say that the health food industry does not focus on food, and the food industry doesn't focus on health. Like, food is not being used as medicine, as like the pharmacy side of things. So I do think there is an issue with, one side, as you said, like, the more and more illnesses are caused by these companies, and those companies are also treating them. But I don't think it's like very, very blatantly that, that some food companies, that some medicine companies giving money to a food company to poison the customer. It's not like so
So
blatant. Like,
it's not that blatant, of course.
yeah, it's not like right there. But yeah, of course, like, these companies, these pharma companies do benefit from more individuals falling sick. That's like basic economics. Like, larger the market size, more the money they make.
Now, Raven, coming to you as an individual, where do you see yourself? And how do you plan to fund yourself? I mean, how do you plan to earn money? Would you do paid marketing of health brands? Will there be a conflict of interest? I mean, this is something which has to be a focus when you are getting into deeper waters. How will Food Farmer be funded? Where is the money coming from?
Yeah, so that has honestly been a big challenge. So I was working in the US until 8, 9 months ago, and I was making very good money there. But for the last 8 to 9 months, since I've been food farmer full fledged, I have not made a single rupee, and that is the challenge, of course. At some point, I need to make money.
Hmm.
I know it sounds very idealistic, but I strongly believe that if I add a large amount of value to a large number of people, and if I ask people for even 5% of the value I'm creating, if you give me money based on 5% of value I'm creating, I feel I'll make large enough money. For now, I'm like considering, like, okay, I'm contemplating, should I do non-food sponsored posts? For example,
Hmm.
if a big e-commerce company reaches out to me, or a Netflix sort of a company reaches out to me, should I sponsor some of that kind of content? So it's not connected to packaged food. So I'm contemplating trying to do like certain things to potentially start making money. Every food pump company is reached out that, market my product, market my product. I said no to all of them, and even the company that I have marketed, I've done it for free, like any,
Hmm.
like, small business sort of companies. But I don't think I will be marketing any food company, as at least in the next few months. Maybe long run, if I find a clean product, I may do it.
Raven, thank you so much for speaking to Mint, and all the very best with the food farmer. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.